Okay, today is very similar to what we did yesterday. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. It says youth group trip. The youth group is going on a trip to an amusement park to another part of the state. The trip costs each group member $150, which includes $85 for the hotel and 2 one-day combination entrance and meal plan passes. Write an equation representing the total cost of the trip. Okay, so we know the total amount that each person is spending is $150. And that is equal to everything that they're spending. So each person has to contribute $85 for their hotel, plus P is the cost of the park pass, and each person needs 2 of those because they're buying 2 one-day passes. Okay, so here is our equation. So now we're going to solve in part B to find the area of the park pass. So I'm going to flip my equation around because I can always move what's on one side to the other. And so those are our equivalent equations. Okay. My variables on the left side, I'm going to subtract 85 from both sides. And so I get 2p equals, and 150 minus 85 is 65. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And so the park pass for one day will cost someone $32.50. We're not doing the tape diagram model in part C. Okay. Suppose you want to buy your favorite ice cream bar while at the amusement park and it costs $2.89. If you purchase the ice cream bar and 3 bottles of water, pay with a $10 bill and receive no change, how much did each bottle of water cost? So I spent $2.89 on an ice cream bar, and I bought 3 bottles of water, and my total was 10. So I've set up my equation. Now we're going to use our equation to determine the cost of 1 bottle of water. Alright, so I'm going to subtract $2.89 from each side. And when I do that, 3W is equal to $7.11. So now I'm going to divide $7.11 by 3. So dividing both sides by 3. So W equals $2.37. Now as we work through these, it is going to be very important that you know how to set up and recognize an equation that would work for the situation. Those of you who are taking the algebra placement test at some point in time, you will probably have problems where all they're going to want is the equation without you solving it. So it is vitally important that you know how to set up the equation. And they will probably have problems where you have to show your work, to show your steps on how you came up with your solution. So you can't just revert back to mental math to do that. Okay, we are not doing part F at the bottom. Okay, number 2, weekly allowance. Charlotte receives a weekly allowance from her parents. She spent half of this week's allowance at the movies, but earned an additional $4 performing extra chores. If she did not spend any additional money and finished the week with $12, what is Charlotte's weekly allowance? So I want you to pause the video and I want you to write your equation When you have an equation written down, please push play to check and see if you've got an equation that will work. Okay, hopefully you have 1/2 being multiplied by a. If you wrote that as 5/10 times a, that's the same thing. And then you've got that added to 4. Now remember, it is addition. So if you have this term and this term switched around, that's okay. It's the same thing. All right, so to solve this, I want to subtract 4 from each side. So I have 1/2 a equals 8. I'm multiplying 1/2 times a, so the opposite of multiplying by 1/2 is dividing by 1/2. And so a equals 16. Go ahead and go to the next equation. Okay, part D. Charlotte's goal is to save $100 for her beach trip at the end of the summer. Use the amount of weekly allowance you found in part C to write an equation to determine the number of weeks Charlotte must work in order to meet her goal. Let W represent the number of weeks. So you're working from her total allowance, not from how much she had left after she spent. So you're working from the 16. Go ahead and pause the video, write your equation, and then turn it back on to check it. All right, hopefully you have an equation that works. Part E says, looking at your answer in part D and based on the story above, do you think it will take Charlotte that many weeks to meet her goal? Why or why not? So the first thing I would do is I would solve my equation and I would divide both sides by 16. When I do that, 100 divided by 16, I get 6 25/100. So she would need 6 25/100 weeks. So since you don't get paid in the middle of the week, she needs 7 weeks to save up enough money. Do I think that's realistic or not? You could argue lots of different ways, but since her vacation's not till the very end of the summer, most summers are between 10 and 12 weeks that students are off from school. So I think it is reasonable that she could probably save the $100 before she goes on vacation and still have a little bit of money to spend from the extra weeks before they go. Hey, on number 3, I want you to read the problem to yourself and then write your equation. Pause your video and then start your video again when you have your equation written down. Okay, this one you should have 4 being multiplied by the number of shirts, then subtracting the $10 discount to give you the total of 44. I'm not going to walk through the steps of how to solve this equation. I think you probably have that by now. But if you don't, make sure you tune in for one of the Zoom sessions so we can walk through how to do that. Go ahead and go to the next page. Okay, on this page, I want you to go down to the bottom. Alan's team was also required to buy 2 pairs of uniform pants and 2 baseball caps, which totals $68. A pair of pants cost $12 more than a baseball cap. Write an equation that represents write an equation that models this situation. Let C represent the cost of a baseball cap. So I want you to pause this, write what you think your equation should look like, and then unpause it when you have it. Okay, checking over your work. 1 pair of pants is $12 more than a baseball cap, and they want me to use C for a cap. So to start with, 1 pair of pants is C plus 12. So then I look at everything they have to buy, 2 pairs of pants, 2 caps, and my total is 68. So when I spread it out, I have C plus 12, 1 pair of pants, plus C plus 12, another pair of pants, plus C for the first cap, plus C for the second cap equals 68. So that's my thinking process to come up with my equation. I want to simplify it before I solve it. And so I add all my c's together. I have 4c plus 24. I get that from adding my two 12s together equals 68. So this is the equation I'm working with when I'm going to solve. Okay? At this time, I'm not going to walk through how to solve this one. It's just, I'm going to go on to the next example, practicing setting them up. Go ahead and go to the next page. Okay, and this page was just about solving that, which I'm not going to do at this point. I don't think you need the extra practice with that. But again, if you do want the extra practice with that, just check in with me on one of the Zooms today, and I'll be happy to work through that with you. Go ahead and get started on your problem set.